Hi there, welcome back to The Perspective. I'm Blaze Hope with CEO of Moxy Indonesia, Andrew Senduk, talking about the website. It targets female consumers,
Yes.
Ages 20 to 40. Now, is this high end to low end?
Well, as we define it, let's say it's an A/B class, so it's not per se they want to be perceived as very exclusive. At the end of the day, the big market is not per se there, but of course we want to cater to a big market, of course, and so I would define it as, let's say, a social status AB class.
Okay, well, can you define what that means?
Yeah, so I mean, it goes from, again, if we come back to the demographics of 20 to 40, it could be the fresh grad who just graduated from university, would make her first salary, towards the working mom who has 1, 2, 3 kids. So that is, it goes from, I don't know, should we talk about salaries?
Yeah, I mean, what does AB mean?
I think it could go from a fresh professional going from 4 to 5, 6 million rupiah per month,
Okay.
like starting with, right? And until the career woman who has 1, 2, 3 kids, who could make 20, 30 million per month.
So does that mainly sort of urban people?
It's urban people, but the fun thing is that we see now already in these short 2 weeks, there are a lot of orders actually coming outside of Jakarta as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's of course Jakarta is the capital, and most probably the biggest traffic will be there for now. But I see a lot of potential actually in, let's say, the 10 biggest cities in Indonesia. So a lot of outside of Jakarta and on the islands as well.
Yeah.
So that's definitely there's definitely a big market there.
Yeah. Well, we spoke just before the break about working with other ardent capital groups for logistics. Is that going to be the plan going forward? What is the logistics next couple of years?
I mean, is it the plan going forward? For sure. I mean, for us and also as a group, it's of course something that we want to leverage strategic partnerships that we have with family companies.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, of course we want to build that, and ECommerce has done an amazing job if you look at the growth that they've had throughout Southeast Asia. So that's definitely something that we try to leverage as well as a group. Talking about logistics in the future, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it can only become better and better, and ECommerce has done an amazing job in doing that. So that's definitely something that we will be leveraging upon in the coming years as we grow. So I only see good things happening there in the coming years.
Do you think you'll be looking for sort of more established partners here, or sticking with Ardent Capital and Pulse Indonesia, or?
Well, of course, we are family. We are family, right? So it's almost like a brother or sister relationship. So family is always first, right? Sometimes always first. So our eyes now are focused on building that strategic partnership, so we can actually empower and boost our growth in Southeast Asia.
What's the most important thing for e-commerce in Indonesia in general right now?
Yeah, I think we come back to the main topic we discussed earlier. I think it's really a trust issue, because a lot of people they talk about the time is now, and a lot of investors are eyeballing Indonesia. There's a lot of external funds coming into the country, which I really believe it is. But then of course it's always about when is that pivot point, when is that tipping point actually that the mass will go online. I think it's time and trust. I mean, those are things we cannot buy. Those are things, it needs time before you can actually befriend someone, and it's the same for e-commerce. We need to build that trust. We need to offer our customers excellent customer service, where they don't have to worry actually about payments not or getting in, or their credit card details getting stolen, or products not being delivered. When we can build that trust, I'm convinced that we'll reach to deep into the market where a lot of people will actually enjoy the ease of shopping online. So I think it's trust and it's just time. It's also about patience, right? You cannot move a country of 255 million people to say everyone should buy online now. So of course it's about internet penetration. It's about mobile users but at the end of the day, all these people that go online or that go online and that buy e-commerce, it needs time for all these online users to actually trust the system, to not be afraid actually of buying something online. So trust and just patience it will be key, of course, in creating that tipping point for the Indonesian market, which is soon, I believe.
Is it easy to set up an e-commerce platform in Indonesia?
From a technical perspective, I would say it's yes, but of course there are Indonesia, from the perspective, of course, has its own legal system, but for sure, from a technical perspective, it's definitely easy. What I think, from let's say, with my European eyes coming here, I think recruiting talent is always a challenge. And I think it's always a challenge.
We hear this a lot.
For everyone in the industry,
Yeah.
it's a challenge. So the pool is quite small. So everyone is fishing in the same pool, and you look who's next to you, it's your competitor fishing in the same pool. So I think that is one of the big challenges that we have. So even more important, for us as a company, the culture we're trying to build should be a fun culture where people can learn, where where it's only about pulling up the sleeves and getting things done. So it's also a mentality thing that when people come to our office, it should always be that, at least that's my goal, is that when people come to the office, they should feel energy and they should feel that things are going on in this place. So, it's attracting talent is, I think, one of the biggest challenges in Indonesia.
And just for a final comment, we speak now, they're discussing an e-commerce law to, I guess, increase transparency, but various other caveats. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think in general it's a good thing from the perspective that, of course, e-commerce is now a hot item. Again, investors coming into the country, foreign players coming into the country. So, of course, I think Indonesia needs to protect in some way the market as well. But I have two thoughts about it. One, again, I think it's a good thing because Indonesia should protect the market, and local players should have the freedom to build stuff, to build their companies. But at the same time, I think looking at the maturity of the e-commerce market, foreign knowledge or foreign funds is not per se a bad thing, I think. So I have two thoughts about it, but yeah, again, I understand it from a perspective of protecting local players, because of course it shouldn't be that the e-commerce market at a certain moment is being ruled by only foreign players, for example. I mean, of course, that's not a good movement. So there should be some transparency and some protection of local players. But at the same time, looking at where the e-commerce market is, say knowledge-wise, again we come back to the human resources. I think there's also a positive thing about the external forces of either capital or human resources that come into the country. So I'm a bit mixed. I don't really have a really controversial opinion about it, but yeah, I understand both sides.
Are you worried?
I'm not worried. I only look. No, I'm not worried at all. I just look at, for us, we just try to focus on Moxy. We try to focus on our customers. That's the only thing I'm worried about, is to give excellent customer experience to our customers. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
Okay. Well, look, that's all we have time for today. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Join us next time on The Perspective on Berita Satu. For now, I'm Blaze Hope. See you next time.